I'm going to walk through a MyLawBC pathway to show you the features and general usability of the website. This version of the website was launched at the end of May 2016 and is up and ready to use. The site's interactive, and after answering a series of questions about your legal problem, you receive an action plan which covers what you need to know, first steps, next steps, and where to get help. MyLawBC has information on separation, divorce, and family orders, abuse and family violence, missed mortgage payments, and wills and personal planning. The website works on any mobile device, such as a tablet or a phone, or a laptop or desktop computer. Now, up at the top, you'll notice this dialogue tool that you can access. And the dialogue tools is for couples who are splitting up to create a separation agreement together. So each party enters in information separately, but it creates something for both parties that's downloadable and that each party can print. But if you're going to work through something individually, you can go to the pathways. And here's where we click on separation, divorce, and family orders. Now, this is giving you some information. There's a disclaimer about domestic violence if you're in an unhealthy relationship. They suggest maybe going through the abuse and family violence pathway first. But if that's not applicable to your situation or it's not something you want to deal with at this time, you can go into the other family law legal issues for making a separation plan, getting family orders to figure out which court to use, or I've been served with a court document, find out what to do next. So we're going to go into the make a separation plan. And again, they're giving you just a brief amount of information to read over about the guided pathway. And it does say it's going to take 20 minutes to complete and your answers are anonymous. And I just want to point out I haven't provided any demographic information at this point. You don't have to set up an account to go through the separation agreement plan. There are some pathways where you do set up an account. I think if you use the dialogue tool, you would set up an account. But for this one, it's completely anonymous. You answer the questions without providing information about yourself, and then it gives you something to download at the end. Now, each screen also in the pathway, if you decide maybe the do-it-yourself route isn't for you, you can go in and find out how to get legal advice from a family lawyer or find out some information about mediation. So if we continue through, we'll get started with the first questions. What's your relationship with your partner? And then it asks, you can choose married, living together for 2 years, or less than 2 years. So if you were to choose married, you can go on to the next question. If your situation's maybe unclear or you're not sure what they mean through the question, you can get some additional information here about the term spouse, maybe why they're asking the question, and then continue on. Now the next screen, instead of asking a question, is giving you some information based on the answer you just provided. So because we indicated that we were married, it's saying you don't need a separation, but you must get a divorce order, and it's providing you some information, again, based off of the answer that you just provided. So then you can continue through and answer the questions about whether you have children, yes or no. And then what kind of financial decisions you and your spouse made that affected you. So these are kind of spousal support questions, whether somebody worked, and you can check all that apply, worked to support somebody else, whether somebody would be in a much better off position if you got separated than the other, or they have our situation isn't listed here. So you can check those and then continue. And then here's your information about spousal support based on the answer that you just provided. Did you rent or own your home? You can provide rent or own. And then you're going to get, again, some information about your living arrangements based on the fact that you told them that you owned your home together. And then they ask for family property. What do you have as far as family property, and they go ahead and define that term for you down here. So you can choose bank accounts, real property, whether you have business investments, then continue on. Here's your information about how to divide family property, or how the law would divide family property. A question about spousal debt. You can answer yes or no, and it also defines debt is mortgage, credit cards, car loans, etc. And here's your information about dividing debt. Now they have a sliding scale. So how is communication going with your spouse? And the scale runs from poorly to very well, and you can just move it along and then continue on. And it's going to give you information depending on how you answered about mediation. So if you are getting along, maybe mediation is an option, and they're telling you here is the difference in the costs of a legal trial versus mediation. So maybe a 2-day trial costing almost $40,000 versus a mediation that costs $3,000. So because we indicated that communication was well, they're kind of saying, take a look at mediation. That might be a good option other than court. And then you have a question about could you work together to reach an agreement for your separation? And you can choose either I don't think so or I think so, and then you can continue on. Okay, so those were all of the questions that they asked. If you went through and read the information, it would probably take about 20 minutes, but again, I just kind of skimmed. But here you have your action plan, your situation, and you can download this as a PDF, or you can go through and do each of the tabs. And so you read first, and it says your separation plan, your options, and it's giving some information based on your answers. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there's even a video about mediation and places that you can go maybe instead of going to court. So that's your read this first, some information. Now they give you your first steps, what you need to do now. Figure out if you can work together. Use the dialogue tool to make an agreement. Get support when you need it. And then they have your your next steps. So after you've completed those steps, what to do now, what to do later, excuse me. And so this is, finalizing your agreement, getting consent orders, and getting your divorce. So again, you can work through that list. And then they have a tab for get more help, and it provides you with legal services, free legal advice, mediation, different organizations and groups that might be able to help with things like debt or things like family law to help you through the process. And then if you wanted to read it, you could do that through the tabs again, or you could download the PDF, save it, and read over the information and then go through the steps individually. So that's one pathway included in MyLawBC. It's really like a clean design, easy to read, easy to go through.